Hello everyone and welcome back to Rayman 2 The Great Escape on the SEGA Dreamcast. I am One Sheep and today we're going to tackle the Fairy Glade, the first real level of the game. And to start things off, we're going to take a dip in the water. Now as you can see, the water controls show up on screen. You press the left trigger to go down, you press the A button to go up and use the left stick to move. And it works very well. Your biggest obstacle underwater is actually the camera, because the camera sort of acts a bit iffy. That's one of the drawbacks of this game. The camera was pretty blur. This was a fairly early 3D platformer, so I can't stress it enough. Anyway, the first cage of this level is also down here in this water, and of course, it adds a new type of lum. The new type of lum is basically a giant yellow lum with a big smiley face. I love it. It's all cheery and such. It's so jolly. Basically, when you pick them up, they count as 5 lums. So, if you see those, you need to pick them up as much as you can. And yeah, this LP, I am now confirming, won't be exactly 100%, but it will be a majority. So, I will pick up nearly everything I can. Just not everything that is in each level, so... Basically, if I see something, I'll pick it up. But anyway, while you just saw me jumping on a mushroom. Now, your indication that you can jump on a mushroom is a little arrow that'll appear. Wait for that arrow to appear, and you'll bounce on up, and you can do some monkey bar shenanigans with the vines above you. Anyway, swimming is not advised because this water is piranha infested, and trust me, you don't want to jump in. If you jump in this water, you're going to die, and it's going to be rather painful. Now, those piranhas that are actually flying in and out of the water, you can shoot them and hurt them, but from what I can guess, is they respawn, so there's no real need to. And one thing the game actually doesn't explain to you is you can actually zoom in and look around the entire area manually. If you press both the L and R triggers, I keep saying LT and RT thanks to the Xbox pad, but if you press both the L and R triggers, you can actually zoom in and start searching across the environment to find things that are in the environment, like this cage by here that it would be quite easy to miss, to be honest. But anyway, just jump up. Sometimes the aiming on your laser energy super Kamehameha blasts can be a bit iffy, so be careful of them. And also, when we were up on top, you saw me hit a switch. That switch, as you can guess, would open up this doorway by here, where the baby glow boxes are standing in front saying, "Hurry up, we need to get out of that dark blah." I digress. Anyway, the green lum that I picked up is actually a checkpoint, so whenever you see the green lums, go for them, trust me. And by here, this section of the stage is actually significantly different from the original version. For one reason, there's no hole in the original version, it's just a big field. I don't know why they added a hole. They probably figured, difficulty needs to be increased somewhat. Sega, the hardcore crowd. But I digress. Anyway, just hover all the way down here, because there's one lum that's underneath like a certain bridge. It's very, very easy to miss. And if you can't tell, these mosquitoes are actually taken directly out of Rayman 1. Don't see them around that much, especially after this game. This is pretty much their final appearance until Origins, which is quite a long ways away. But anyway, don't worry about the piranhas in the water. They're basically there to intimidate you. So you can just float over, just stay on this barrel. The barrel will keep on moving while you're on it, so... And it'll keep on moving after you... Basically, it'll move once you touched it once, so... There's that. Anyway, we're going to go up to this oil pump by here and start making our way onwards. And for the most part, this is a fairly long stage. One of the big things about Rayman 2 that I like is the fact each of the levels are really long. They can go on for about 20-30 minutes, depending on what stage it is. I don't mind it. I mean, it makes the game feel long, because there's not that many levels in this game, but they are all quite lengthy to go through. But anyway, this section by here, the music is different in this version, if I remember correctly, to the N64, because I remember the music being quite creepy in this section, in the original version of the game, but by here it seems rather standard. Although, I kind of wish that Rayman was in Smash Brothers, just because the main jingle in this game is a very classic jingle. I always remember this. It's just a dun 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 dun. And that's the main theme. We're going to see it remixed quite a bit throughout this game. Like this song back here that's playing even now is actually a remix of that main jingle. So, I don't know, I like it. The music in this game is really well done. It's not as memorable as, say, Rayman 1's music, because Rayman 1 had Bandland. But it's still well done. And a lot of people are probably wondering, because a lot of people who knows me, probably, they know that I like to go in chronological order with the games. And wondering why haven't I done Rayman 1? That's because I can't. I can't play Rayman 1, I'm horrible at the game. That's why I skipped the LP entirely. I'm thinking about doing a new series though, because I do want to cover it in some way on this channel. But anyway, you can hear a help noise from a cage nearby. We can't get that cage at all. Basically, we need to go into a later level that leads us back to this level to get hold of a cage in that section. It's very confusing. So no matter what, on your first time running through this level, you can't get 100%, just to pre-warn you. Anyway, this is a very nice change of scenery, and we meet the very first enemy of the game. And we're not going to fight him. Because we can't. We can't hurt him because he's behind the barriers. What he's going to do is he's going to throw flaming barrels at you. And these flaming barrels, as soon as they contact the floor, they'll explode. And you don't want to be there. Going near the floor when it's exploding is very bad news. Just ask Luigi, number 1. I have to do a voice somewhere. I just do. But anyway, this is a very easy to miss section. I always seen LPs where people just, where's all these lambs? I don't know where I'm going. Brr, brr, brr. And that's because this section by here is very easy to miss, especially with the screen and how dark it is. Like the screen, the picture as a whole is lit up because of the way I capture this footage. So, but you know, a lot of people really do miss it. Anyway, by here we're going to want to make use of the whole first-person view I mentioned earlier, because otherwise it might be a bit tricky to find the way to jump. Because what you need to do is actually go down here and land on a lily pad. Make sure you make use of your hover jump, because otherwise you may have a bit of issues. For the most part, it's not that bad though. Just shoot the piranha plants or the piranhas when they jump in the water, or time it so they don't get hit by them. For the most part, the stage isn't that bad. And I have no idea whether other help... There's a cage in this area somewhere else. I have absolutely no idea where it is. So, don't ask me. I'm probably being an idiot, though. Anyway, I love this fighting theme. Even though you don't hear it that much, it is pretty good. But anyway, just stand on a giant X on the floor. He'll throw a barrel at you, and he'll explode the floor, which will give you a chance to drop down. And now we meet the very first enemy we're going to take care of in this game. The best way to deal with this guy is just to spam him with NG pellets and jump across the platforms while you're spamming the button. Now if you press down the L trigger, you'll actually go into a strafing mode. And I won't explain too much about that yet, although it's pretty much self-explanatory. Strafing. I mean, you move left and right, you move left and right. Like we're doing by here with these barrels. You don't want to touch these barrels, by the way. This section when I was younger was so difficult. I don't know why. It's easy now, but trust me, back in the day, it was such a tricky stage. But anyway, of course, we want to break through the door, and this song, for some reason, is quite nostalgic to me. I always remember this section of the game very vividly. Because when I was younger, I never beat Rayman 2 all that much. I was always in like the earlier levels, and this was one of the levels I used to go to all the time. But anyway, as Murphy just explained, if we hold down the left trigger, we're going to be able to strafe. And what you can do while you're holding down the left trigger is just spam the NG pellets, which will hurt the robot pirates, obviously. And you can also jump out of the way of the laser blasts they're shooting at you, and you can only make use of this quite a lot in the game. Especially in the later levels, when we earn a couple of decent power-ups. But of course, the combat, as you can tell, is really simplistic. It's just throw everything you got at them until they die. Speaking of which, pick up this keg by here and throw it at that robot. He goes down in one hit. This is the only time I've never figured out thought to do that before, but hey, it's the first time for everything. Of course, it is quite interesting on how you pick up these objects. It's not automatic. Well, in a way it's automatic, but it's not. Basically, if you stop moving while in front of an object you want to pick up, Rayman will instantly pick it up on his own, so it might get confusing to some people, but it's not that bad. Anyway, if you might have noticed as well, at some points our health bar is going to increase. And there's a reason for that as well. Basically, every 5 cages that we destroy, our health bar will go up. So, there's another incentive really to try and get as many cages as possible, because the more cages you get, the more health you get, and the more health you get, the more damage you can do. Well, not the more damage you can do, the more damage you can deal with. Although we do get damage upgrades later on in the game. So, don't worry, combat doesn't stay too slow. Although the enemy health bars do increase a hell of a lot, so it depends. Anyway, we want to go down here and dodge this laser. There's fortunately a red lump which gives us health. Decided to fly through the wall, I don't know what caused that. But basically boop the door open with a switch and then we'll be heading into this hallway. And for some reason, all the staircases in this level, I used to think they were bookshelves and we were walking on giant books. I don't know why. In fact, it still kind of looks like that now. Someone tell me what we're walking on the staircases, because it really does look like books. Anyway, as you can guess, we want to boop the switch and fly down here, which will open up the pathway to the next area. This game is very linear, though. I will be completely honest about that. I mean, there's a lot of places you can go, and there's a lot of platforming involving switches and sometimes exploring certain areas, but for the most part, it is a very linear game, and I can't see anyone really getting lost. I can see people getting overwhelmed, but that's only because I played this back when 3D platforming was like a new thing, so I was overwhelmed by this game at one point, but I was young. And there's lots of games used to overwhelm me. Mario 64 I used to just think was what? I got massive castle, I don't know what I'm doing. I love that game though. I used to play it all the time. I still play it occasionally now. But anyway, that's Lee the Fairy and that machine that we ran past earlier, and to free her, we need to go through this passageway that robot just got demolished. But we're going to go through this passageway and pick up this keg. Now, as Murphy's saying, to throw it forward, you press the B button, and to throw it in the air, you press the A button. And what you want to do is basically pick up the keg, throw it in the air, shoot these energy pellets at hover bomb things that are coming towards you, and just rinse and repeat until you're close enough to throw the keg at one of those 3 crosses. Obviously you need to destroy all 3 of these crosses, but once they all go down, then no worries. Stage is actually quite a simple stage, to be honest. It's still second level. It's just compared to the first level, they throw so much more at you that it can be a bit, what's going on? And I don't know why, the animation with the electricity, I always found it amazing. It just hypnotizes me. It's just something to do with the sweeping motion it has. But anyway, just be careful, just rinse and repeat. 3 hits obviously goes down. This section is a bit more tedious than it could be, but there's a lot of issues with a lot of games. Like, this game hasn't aged 100% perfectly. I mean, there's still a couple of things here that make it go, eek. Like this section, just because it lasts for so long. It should have been just 2 hits, I think, and it would have been perfectly fine, but they had to stretch it out for the extra 3rd. Oh, those game developers. Anyway, with that machine blown up, we've now freed Lee the Fairy, who's pretty much the replacement for Batilla the Fairy if you ever played the original game. Actually, where the hell is Batilla? Seriously, she disappeared off the face of the earth. Ah, well. We get our next power-up in a second anyway, folks, and the next power-up will give us the ability to utilize those purple ring things we saw earlier on in the previous part. So anyway, she's going to explain all the backstory, like Palokas, which is some sort of omnipotent god who is completely useless in the long run. I'll explain why when we get to it, but trust me. Basically, this is our plot. This is us trying to stop the pirates. This is how we're going to. We need to find the 4 masks. And then our major MacGuffin. What do? Nothing. What does Palokas do? Nothing. Basically, we do everything, but the game just sort of gives us this plot just to make us go, okay, we need an excuse to go through these levels. But hey, there's our next power-up. So we'll be able to grab onto purple lums. So whenever you see a purple lum floating above a pit or something, just throw an energy pellet at it. You'll grab onto like this weird tether. And this tether will allow you to go across chasms, and we're going to make use of it a lot in this game. It's probably the most used power-up you'll see. And now that we got the power-up, you'll also notice the fact that our energy pellets have changed in colour. Now it's no longer a grey, bland, weak-looking thing. It looks a bit more powerful, it's a bit more brighter, it's a bit more blue. And I like that kind of progression, I don't know. And I hate that laser beam, it's so difficult to dodge. Seriously, I do like the progression in terms of whenever you get a power-up, your energy colour of your pellets will change. And it kind of gives you that feel of, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting more ready to destroy the pirates. I like it. But anyway folks, that has been this part of Rayman 2. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't be sheepish people, and I'll catch you all in part 3 when we finish off the Fairy Glade and move into the Marshes of Awakening. Awoo! Catch you all then, people.